MJ, you're first. Bob, you're not first. Congratulations. Oop, I didn't. I didn't change the special. We're not making chicken. We're not making chicken. We're making. That. Clearly. Hello. Hello. I am not yet having a gay time. I am having an old time. It snuck up on me a little bit, and by which I mean I had to do work for my job for the kickoff to Pride, which didn't leave me time to do work for this for the kickoff to Pride. So that happened. I had to work this morning, actually. So yeah, sorry about that. So we're doing something pretty straightforward because I didn't plan anything crazy. We will try maybe rainbow food later. We could try rainbow food at some point. Ryuya, hello, hello. How's the cut? You can see the scabby remains. I shredded these two knuckles. Just miserable. Two little scabs are what is left on there. So we're good. We're good to go. But it was not a good time. I got a new air conditioner, which is in the other room over here. There it is. It's the quietest air conditioner I've ever had, which is amazing because it's also keeping the house very cold. But I was bringing it in, so I was holding the box, and my knuckles caught the door frame, and that's kind of skinned them off a little bit. Very painful. Very painful. Didn't stay painful, but briefly, very painful. And then I had them all bandaged up for a couple days, which meant my left hand was kind of out of commission for Sunday, Monday, and part of Tuesday. Before I could even bend my fingers very well. So yeah, that's why we canceled last time, was because of that. Good afternoon, Glacier. Hello, congratulations. You're not first. I didn't literally cut my hand in the middle of the Discord message, but just about. I typed that message while applying pressure to my fingers with my own thumb. I typed that message with one hand, with the other one hand. So it was pretty right away. Today, how is everybody? It's been 2 weeks. It's been hot. It got hot. Last time I saw you guys, it was cold. Now, hot. I don't like it. I was rummaging around looking for stuff to use. This has been frozen in my freezer for a while. It is getting a little freezer burny in spots, which suggests to me that it's not going to be very good to cook as like a slab of meat. So I'm going to trim it off of its little bone there, and we're going to turn it into a sauce. It is a lamb shoulder chop. And that's the plan. And then I'm going to make some cheat instant gnocchi using potato flake, because we've got potato flake. So we don't have to go through the whole rigmarole to make a quick gnocchi. but we will need a nice clean worktop. And that's the plan. I haven't been able to plan out nearly as elaborate of stuff as I used to. My job has been taking up more time in exchange for more pay, so I'm not like, mad about it, but it's eating into my stream time a little bit, my prep time a little bit, because there was something on there. Oh. In part just because I've had a bunch of extra training for the new role, so that is taking even additional time on top of regular extra hours. So I've had extra hours, but also I've had extra time on top of that doing other stuff. Yes, I know. How dare they? How dare they take away our valuable time? I don't need the celery. I'm getting confused. First step is this, which we're not doing on the wooden board. We're doing it on the nylon board. But first step is this. Looking at doing a sushi bake. I would not use those two words together, so I don't know what that is. Yeah, see, a little bit of gray from the freezer burn. A little bit of gray from the freezer burn. I think we stew this down, and we won't even notice. We won't even notice that it's gone a little bit gnarly. You won't even notice. It's better on that side. Oh, there's a little bone over here too. Oh, there's a bone down there as well. So we've got a couple of different bones we gotta wiggle out of this thing. We're gonna use little sharp guy because I think I can get in there with him. So what's everybody been up to? I hated missing last week, but what was I gonna do, really? Okay, just gonna take that bit off. And we're gonna take that bit off. Mando and Grogu. Now, I'm gonna shock you all and tell you that I have not seen any of The Mandalorian. At all. I don't think there's any more bones in there. There's some hard fat, but that's fine. That'll render down. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I don't have any of the streaming. I don't have the Disney streaming service, and the Disney stuff is hard, not impossible, but hard to find by alternate means. And the more popular it is, the harder it is to find by alternate means because they really crack down. Um, Also, the newer it is. Oop. Ah, that's a little bit of silver skin right there. Just a smidge, but we're going to get rid of that. That stuff does not break down when you cook it. It just like turns into rubber bands. I mean, I suppose it'll eventually break down, but everything will turn to just disintegrated mush if you take it that far, and that's not typically what we're looking for. I need a pan to start this stuff. I'm gonna wash my hands, bro. No, I'm not gonna wash my hands. Finish cutting this. We're gonna start this stuff in a pan, and then I think we're gonna transfer into a larger pot so I can cook other things in the same pan. A lot of the stuff I don't. The only streaming service I have access to is Netflix. I have a shared Netflix account. Um, I honestly don't. I kind of disapprove of the whole where the whole streaming ecosystem is going. When Netflix broke out and did its thing, it was great and revolutionary. Um, Now I think that collectively the industry is trying to recreate all the problems of cable, but like again and for more money. um, so I'm pretty picky, and I don't just throw out at everyone. I seek alternate means of watching things whenever I can. Um, and yeah, I know Netflix was trying to crack down on shared accounts, but boy, they did a bad job at that. Despite all their talk about it, they kind of just didn't. They kind of just didn't. Big wad of fat at the bottom of this one. You subscribe to PBS? I thought that was free, except with donations. Do they have a subscription option? That I might subscribe to. Although I appreciate you guys subscribing to me. Uh, Never. I hold back on subscriptions because I don't have, even with my new promotion at work, uh, a ton of disposable income. Or in fact, I have no disposable income. I do spend money on on a few luxury things, with the understanding that it's money that I probably shouldn't be spending. Uh, so I will always say, I appreciate if you can subscribe to me. Never feel obligated. Always take care of yourself first. The economy is very bad. we can just about afford strawberries as a little treat. So, flavor profile wise, Queerly's tempted to go back to cable. I don't think cable's gotten any better, though. I think cable's been trying to chase down the streaming people. There's a little bit of a T-bone right in there. It's going to be gnarly hard to get any more. Oh, no, to get any more meat off of this piece because of where that bone is. And this one should be simpler to just take down the side. Yeah, I'm gonna not fight with the bones. If you donate to your local station, you can get access to videos online. Oh, okay. I do support donating to PBS, especially in the wake of recent government actions. Well, I suppose it's not even that recent. Cancel your Paramount subscription and donate that to PBS. I said that when CBS announced they were pulling the plug on Colbert. I feel like Netflix used to be gold standard and has gotten worse, not necessarily because they made themselves worse, but because other competitors jumped into the market and started pulling things off of Netflix. That the ecosystem doesn't work when there are too many of them, and there needs to be just like, I hate to say it because I don't want consolidation, but the streaming ecosystem I think works better when there are fewer, not monopoly, but fewer players dividing the total amount of content between them. That's the issue. Anyways, that. And into that we put, we're going to turn the heat on first. We're going to get that hot first. Because we want to sear this a little bit for flavor. Streaming as a public utility. There's definitely a few things that should be public utilities. I don't know that stream. Well, no. You know, I don't think streaming entirely as a public utility. But what if there was a publicly run streaming competitor that would force the private ones to chase that as a level of standard? Like a BBC. Like a BBC thing. What if the BBC was a streaming service? Which it kind of is, except not really. Their model is weird. I'm not putting any fat in this pan. I'm going to rely on the fat that comes out of the lamb to provide all the fat we need in this pan. I don't currently donate to PBS. I have donated. I've only had a public broadcaster. Um, I have historically chosen to send my charitable money to NPR or WPR instead, which I definitely consume way more of. Your local public radio station does really good work. They are still doing really solid journalism. They get a lot of flack online for not being hard enough on blah blah blah. They're still actually doing good journalism. You need them. And in Wisconsin in particular, WPR, our state level public radio, is excellent. Just excellent. I know not every state has a really robust public radio option and just uses the NPR general, but yes, yeah, well, yes. They would fight. They always fight. Look at any industry. Okay. Lamb in the pan. We're gonna let Wolf. Hello. Lamb in the pan. We're gonna let it. We're gonna turn it down a little bit, but we're gonna let it kind of sear and render. We'll push it around a little bit in a sec. In the meantime, I'm going to mince up some veggies. I changed my mind about transferring pans. We're gonna try to build the sauce entirely in this pan, because I'm lazy. Because I'm lazy. Sometimes be lazy. Happy Pride, everyone. Oh, that's not that. No. Celery. Onion. Ew. Slightly sprouty carrot. Mmm. That is a misread, isn't it? Knife. Knife. He's got a knife. I'm not going to bother trimming off the little rootlets. They can just be part of my thing. That's a good misread, though. If you're going to misread something, misread it well. Okay. Let's throw down, I don't know why I said that, our carrot, because I just threw it down. Just trying to, it's just chatter. It's just mindless chatter. How is everyone? How are you doing? Happy Pride. Getting low on onions around these parts. Let's go take a peek at that meat real quick. It should. Should be hotter. It is releasing from the bottom. So our intent is to cook it until it has some nice browning on the surfaces. And then we're going to throw other things on top of it. And it is going to ultimately stew in a bunch of vegetable juices from the other ingredients we throw in there. Niece wanted to make Hello Kitty cookbook cookies. Were they good? Yep, slightly old onion. The outer layer is trying to delaminate from the one just beneath it. Onion. Little plain. Well, if they're for kids, you don't want. Kids prefer. Generally, not gonna. I mean, I'm gonna make a generalization, but I'm gonna call it out as a generalization. My experience: children generally prefer simpler flavors. That one's much easier to cut because I peeled one extra layer off of this one. We can use the top of that celery this time. Not going to use the bottoms. I don't think I'm going to use that top. We can use this one though. Take that bit off. My meat is sizzling much louder all of a sudden, which suggests that we are getting out of the rendering phase, the sweating phase, and into a drier cook. So I'll be right there, pot. Oh, hey, you guys are over there looking at the meat while I'm over here cutting. Bookwoman, hello. Oop, I was over here cutting, and I wasn't paying attention. How's the meat? Ooh, yes. Okay, we're getting the brown on one side. We're getting some fond developing at the bottom. Looks good, looks good. I am going to say that that is what I was looking for. And we're going to throw all of our veggies in there with it. Whether or not it was what I was looking for, you'll never know. I'm going to say it was. But hi, hello, Bookwoman. How are you? How many lions? Lions. Okay, salt to help sweat out our veggies. We are going to turn our temperature down because we would rather sweat those than sear them. You know what? I should do that. I should get on those sound command things. Them their sound command things. Okay. Temperature is down to a 5 on the dial. The dial that quite literally goes to 11. Temperature's down on the dial. We want garlic. Garlic. You guys can keep an eye on that thing for me. Scream if it gets up and walks away. Oop, Wolf wants some moisten. Moist. I've actually been really wet lately. By which I mean I've been really sweaty lately. The the air conditioner is busted at work. We've got fans set up, and it pulls air into our space from the adjoining hallway, but it leaves it a little toasty in the game store. It's actually been really nice at home. My new air conditioner has been just a dream. Cool enough that I sit with a blanket wrapped around me occasionally in the evenings. Otherwise, it hasn't been massively hot. Hi, Mags. Um, it hasn't been massively hot here yet. We had a brief stint where it got up to almost 90. Um, but it has thus far been holding fairly well in the warm but not oppressive range. So mid to upper 70s, and then a few days in the low to mid 80s. So I've definitely been experienced worse. I am certainly glad I got the air conditioner in when I did, in spite of it trying to take my fingers off. But because we did, just the day after that, have a day where I don't think it quite hit 90. But it was flirting with it. I am throwing the celery top in now. You've just been watching the pan. You've just been watching the pan do nothing. Are we sticking? We're not sticking, but we have developed a very robust fond on the bottom of the pan here. It doesn't look burned yet, but it is dark and rich, and I probably should deglaze it soon. We're gonna do the garlic first. Oh, you guys couldn't see any of that. I keep switching the wrong way. There's our fond. It's dark, but doesn't look quite burned to me. I wish the celery came with more leaves. If I grew my own celery, I'd have the leaves. Did I change you back? I didn't. I keep forgetting to change sides. I have tried growing my own celery. It doesn't do well here. But yeah, the leaves I think would be excellent as a stand-in for places where you want to use parsley, which itself is a stand-in for places where you don't want to use cilantro. What I'm saying is, celery is basically cilantro. Okay, and then we are going to drop off the garlic as well. Push that around until fragrant. Fond is looking a little black, so I'm going to deglaze pretty much straight away with some red wine. We are using red wine, yes. We're finishing that bottle. Yeah, for those of you following along at home. Deglaze with an entire bottle of red wine, or, you know, maybe half a cup or whatever was left in that bottle. Okay, the heat can come up a little bit, not all the way up, but a little bit. We are deglazed. We want to cook away the wine. We don't want to restart the fond. We want some spices for this, though. I was thinking about the spices that want to go in here. I'm going to wash this out real quick because there was a beetle in there in my spice grinder. It's kind of curled up dead, but I suppose 'tis the season. We're gonna wash that real quick. It was Yoko. So I was thinking about the spices to go with this. And we're making functionally a pasta sauce. I'm calling it ragout, which is like, it's meat sauce. It's a meat sauce. But we're using lamb. And I think that I want to lean into that aspect of it. That needs to dry before I can do anything else with it. Cloves. We're going to use powdered cinnamon. Cinnamon. And allspice. Change these things up a little bit. Clove, cinnamon, allspice, because we're going to go for... I mean, we're going for warm flavors. It's sure not the season for warm flavors, but I think that's what I'm going for. Let's make sure that our stuff over here is not sticking. In fact, I'm going to grab the internet real quick and shake it. No, we're not using saffron. Oh, hey, it's Monday. They're mowing the lawn. Cardamom. Cardamom, clove, nutmeg. We can do nutmeg. Cardamom, clove, nutmeg, and ginger. I think I have cardamom. Yes, I do. It's pre-ground. I don't have pods, so those. Nutmeg and cinnamon. Yeah, they're a little late today. I noticed they weren't right on top of it when I started. Yeah, those are gonna get grinded up. And to that, we will add some cinnamon, some cardamom. We're not using that cinnamon. We're using the ground cinnamon. I've got cinnamon sticks, but I find them very annoying to use. Oh, and we're starting a fresh nutmeg. I will grate that directly into the thing. Boop. Those spices go in. Along with a fresh nutmeg. And a little bit of ginger. That knife got wet. How we doing stick-wise? Pretty good, actually. Nobody's sticking. I don't intend to add any fat to this because we're getting quite a lot out of the lamb. And ideally, that would be all we need. I put that knife there because I was foolish. I will be making my own gnocchi tonight, but we're using instant potato to make it quick. We're going to do the shortcut fasty mode with it. Plus, the sauce has to stew. Fresh ginger should have gone in when I put the fresh garlic in. I will say, for as much as I like Woodman's, man, do they have some gnarly ginger pretty much every time. They are not great on the old ginger front. I need to stop cooking my spatula. Right? Yeah. Well, sometimes they get fresh stuff, but the fresh stuff always seems like it's that. I want ginger roots that are like short and twisty and tight. They get these really long, leggy ones that feels like they were forced in greenhouses just to grow real fast, and they don't taste like much. And they also go bad really quickly, which I don't like either. I should get ginger from. Should probably hunt around and see if I could find a better source of ginger, but I probably should get ginger from one of the Asian markets, or maybe from the farmer's market. We have redeveloped fond, but that's fine because we're going to throw a whole bunch of liquid on top of this. $0.25 can of tomatoes. How could you say no to 25 cents? I mean, I think a lot of people would say no. In fact, a lot of people did say no, which is why I got them. Okay. Yeah, it was one of the big cans, 25 cents, clearance, get rid of it. And I was like, sure thing. Sure thing, bud. I'll get rid of that. Directly into my belly. And that's how we arrived here. I think it's going to need a little bit more liquid because we're going to end up cooking it down again. We're going to make sure to pick up any fond using the tomato juice. But this is going to now simmer while I do everything else. And I feel like it wants more liquid for that process. We'll taste it along the way. We can adjust spices a little bit, and we can adjust salt levels if need be. There's no spicy spice. There's no hot spices in there at the moment. We could do some black pepper. And by some, I mean quite a bit. And some paprika, I think, is a good add here. And then, yeah, I want some extra water because we're going to cook this enough that it is going to lose a lot of its water. Because we want stuff to break down in the cook. It's going to be very brown. I have the lid that fits that pan. We're going to let it simmer. Okay. That should be good to go. I don't think we want to put cheese with this. I think it, because I've gone with the warm spices, I don't think I want cheese with this. Tasting it now is not going to do a ton because those spices need time to extract and infuse. We do need a kettle of water. Boiling water. Bowl. Egg. Potato flake. And flour. We've done this once before, like this. The egg does not go in first. The egg needs to sit there. The thing that goes in first is actually the potato flake. And I don't really want to do a bunch of extra gnocchi today. So I'm going to do half a cup of potato flakes. This kind of dried potato is just 1-to-1 with water, makes mashed potato. And that should be enough water also to hydrate our flour for our gnocchi dough. This was the bowl that had my vegetables in it. I'm just going to use it for egg as well. Looks good. So we need to make the mashed potatoes, and then the mashed potatoes need to cool off enough that when we add the egg to them, it doesn't scramble the egg. We also need a pan of water for cooking the gnocchis the gnocchis. Ugh. Oh, I'll tell you what I need to do right now is clean up the camera station. The camera station is covered in flowers. So many flowers. It's honestly problematic. So I'm going to be away from the camera for a moment while I clear up all these flowers, because I know when I get this far, flowers. All my various flowers ended up over there. When I end up wanting to take a photo, I will have forgotten that it is covered with all of my various flowers. And my tivip. Tivip. Which is technically not a flower. But it's also made by Bob, so it gets sorted with them. Cool. Okay. That also is the way I'm going to reach the pot. Where did I... This pot. This pot gets filled with water. It was flowers with a U. Okay, there's that. We grab a fork and we grab a fork, stir that together, instant mashed potato. Push our boiling water to the side. That's got to chill out a little bit before I combine the egg into it. I'm putting water in a large medium pan. We're going to be a little bit high on the egg. It's going to be a little bit of an eggy gnocchi today. But that should be okay. We'll just balance it out with flour until it has that lovely bouncy texture to it. Heavily salt that water. You guys are looking at nothing, aren't you? Pot in the back corner. As salty as the sea. Because we're making a fresh pasta. Thank you, Bob. So good of you to notice. Okay. Water's boiling. Things are simmering. Let's take a peek at it, make sure it's not simmering too hard. It's simmering pretty hard. Honestly, we're gonna do one of these where I ajar the pot slightly and let it bruddle. It smells very lamby. How hot are you? Cool enough that I can touch it, but my fingers says that it's also slightly too hot for the egg, but only slightly. If I spread it out a little bit. I tell you what, instant mashed potatoes. They're kind of a miraculous thing. They're not as versatile as whole potatoes, but if what you need is a basic mashed potato, there is no way to get that as consistently or as quickly as this. I really don't want to scramble my potatoes. Or scrambled potatoes. That's what we're making. Scrambled potatoes. I bet you could do that. You'd have to get one of the more firm potatoes, but I bet you could make scrambled potato. We should try that. Oh, what's everybody else having for dinner? What's everybody else having for dinner? I've also had potatoes in an omelet. I was thinking like, because you can make scrambled chickpea. You can use pretty much just straight normal chickpea flour, mix it with some water, and cook it like until it's runny, and then cook it like you would scrambled eggs, and it'll curd up. It does it slower than eggs do, but you get a not dissimilar result texturally. It tastes like chickpeas. It doesn't taste like eggs, obviously, but it has that texture. You end up with that same sort of lumpy curd consistency. Now, chickpeas have more protein than potatoes, so potatoes might not be enough to bind on their own. Okay. Preheated baked ziti. Oh man, I haven't done a pasta bake in so long. And then an equivalent amount of flour, and then we get busy mixing or get busy Stixon. You know, the Morgan Freeman quote, but applied to current situation. Chicken fried steak, buttermilk biscuits, garlic mashed potatoes, stir-fried green beans. That sounds like good home southern cooking to me. Except for the green beans. It should be like collards. If it was collards, then it'd be like, yeah. Louisiana something, or not Louisiana. Like East Texas. just want this to stick together. We've got the flour tower handy. I went light on the flour because I believe in the past I went heavy on the flour and then I had to add water to this. And I would rather go the other way around. Because we want to develop some gluten here. Get this nice and smooth. And also get the bits off my hand. Which come off in awkward little flakes, but then you can pick them up with the ball and they just incorporate, or they're supposed to. Ow! 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 I got dough in my air conditioner wounds. Be a little bit more careful with that one, I think. Ow. Anyways, we're going to use this ball to pick up all of this debris. And then we're going to ooh, it is sticking to my worktop. It is not floury enough. It does need more flour than potato in the mix to come together, but you don't want to go too hard, so it's better to go lighter with the flour and add more, because you can't take it out. You end up having to add more water to bring it back the other way, which is more difficult to incorporate. Still a little sticky, but it's better. It's supposed to be a little sticky. It was just a little more than I think I wanted. Keep picking up. Keep using it to pick up more flour. and this residue that develops where I'm kneading it. Okay, our water is boiling, our sauce is boiling. We need flour again. This time as a bed. We are gonna roll the guy into a log, into 2 logs. A little bit of a funny end on that one. Wash hands. Okay. What are we gonna do? We need the towel. Okay, over yonder pot holder. This is moving. This is moving. Heat's going to 8. Heat's going to 3. Nope. Burner was too hot. This one is where we're making our gnocchis. And you just kind of drop them in. Try not to splash boiling water on your hand. Get out a spoon, because it looks like they're all trying to stick in the corner down there. Don't stick. When they start floating, they're done. And they're starting to float. And that's all you need. For those of you, because I've made homemade gnocchi here before. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but it is literally that simple. The ones that rise up enough that you can sort of see them flying around in there, scoop them out. They're done. I don't bother making the little ridged shape because I've tried that before and it is difficult. So I just leave them in little pillows. And you can freeze them before the boiling step and then boil them directly from frozen. And it's the same thing. There's no timing. As soon as they float, they're done. The joy of homemade gnocchi. The joy of gnocchi in general. And our sauce is going to lid off, heat on a bit. Our boil is getting a little bit vigorous on this side. If the boil is too vigorous, it gets hard to see them amidst the bubbles. That's the only downside. And they won't fully float. They won't like float on the top. They'll keep rising up within the boiling water over and over again. And you just kind of snag them as they drift towards the top. And that's it. That's all of them. Gnocchis are one of those things that I don't think I'm ever going to purchase again, just because I've got the process down so basic. It's more effort for sure, but it's way less effort than like pasta. For such a lovely result. Okay. This guy can now come back to the front one. Back one can turn off. We can stir him around. Okay, I want the juicy part to thicken up a little bit more than it already has. I did go for the diced tomato instead of the crushed tomato. I wonder if the crushed tomato would have made a more saucy sauce. We're going to end up with a more chunky sauce as this is right now. Let that bubble away. we're going to clean up our worktop. Okay, yeah. Probably good time to start tasting and tweaking the sauce. Flavors will have infused, even though we haven't achieved thickness yet. Tomatoey. Cinnamony, a little bit of clove. I'm going to add some more just of the quick spices, not that one. Cinnamon, cardamom. I do have ground clove. We'll add a little bit of ground clove. I actually have ground allspice as well. I said I wasn't going to add any hot pepper, but I'm going to add a little dash of some hot pepper. Not a ton. I don't want this to be spicy, but I think it needs a little character. We'll stir those in. Too hot. Okay, stirred those in. Test a piece of meat for doneness. It's a little bouncy, actually. The juice is very tender, or flavorful. The meat's still a little bouncy. It needs stewing time. It needs stewing time. Gnocchi cooks too fast. The gnocchi is delicious. Cardamom. Oop, dropping stuff. Private eyes are watching me, watching my every move. We have a situation where the thing needs cooking time, and I have no other tasks. I have no other side items to cook, to prepare while it is simmering, because the lamb is not yet properly fully tenderized. I did cut it quite small in the hopes that it would go faster, and I think it is, but not quite that much faster. Oh, what do I do? I've already cooked the gnocchis. I'd like to leave it in there another half hour. Simmering away. But that would be a half hour of me just waffling around. I can clean a bit. It's also 6:30. 6:30, huh? A dessert. What have I got to make a dessert with? What have we got to make a dessert with? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm doing a little reading on the side here. Okay. I don't have that. I don't have that. I do have that. A clip! A clip! Clearly sugar crashed. That's fine. You just had a bunch of Hello Kitties. That's what they're for, right? Sugar, flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, salt, egg. I don't have milk. Okay, okay, we're gonna try something. We're gonna try something. Uh, it's called dessert for two. It's called dessert for two. We need a bowl. We need a bigger bowl. I don't think we actually need a bigger bowl, but I don't want to run the risk of it being too small. I'm actually going to go for the big bowl. Although this isn't the biggest bowl anymore. I actually have gotten a bigger bowl. Okay, I'm straight up following a recipe. We need an oven for this recipe. sugar, flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, and salt in a bowl. Two tablespoons cocoa powder. We're following a recipe because we're baking. And I don't trust myself baking. So, 2 tablespoons cocoa powder, a 1/4 cup sugar. First of all, recipe person, Christina Lane, if you're watching, and I know you are, measure these by weight. This is a baking recipe. I could make such huge changes with just tiny amounts of compacting on these things. Good Lord. 1/4 cup all-purpose flour. Didn't weigh that one either. How is it in the year of our Lord, 2026, we have not figured out how to measure baking recipes by weight as the standard? 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. And 1/8 teaspoon baking soda. And a pinch of salt. And I am going to actually grind my salt. The teaspoon and tablespoon amounts, fine. The flour absolutely needs to be done by weight. You can, and frankly, cocoa powder is compacts the way flour does. And 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder is 1/8 cup. Okay. Whisked together to combine. We'll keep the whisk handy. In another bowl, boy, if I'd known I was making this in advance, I would have actually been happier because I'm going to waste a little bit of egg now. I would have put the extra egg white in, I would have used a large egg, and I would have used the white in the gnocchi, and the yolk here, because this just wants yolk. One yolk. Whisk together yolk, milk, oil, vanilla, and coffee or water. I'm not making coffee so that I can have 1 tablespoon of coffee. I should do this in a different bowl. Come on, don't. The eggs we've been using are Eggland's Best eggs. They got the little stamp on them, and I don't like them. The shells are very brittle. I have smashed them way more than I am accustomed to doing with eggs. Yolk. If this is the best egg that Eggland can produce, I am disappointed. Okay, 2 tablespoons of milk, which I do not have. But I do have heavy cream, so we are going to just do that instead, and trust that it's the same thing if you don't think about it too much. One tablespoon water. Which I will just use some of our unused. It says coffee, but again, I'm not making a pot of coffee so I can use 1 tablespoon of coffee. And some neutral oil. Which is going to be avocado because that's the one I have open. And it calls for 1 tablespoon and 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to do 1.5 tablespoons. We are making desserts because the ragu needs more time. Because the meat was not disintegratingly tender as I wanted it to be. It was still had still a little bit of bounce to it, especially the fatty bits. So we're leaving it in there longer. I actually should take a peek at it. We're leaving it in here longer. We also added more spices to it, but we're leaving it in here longer to try to really soften it up. And in the meantime, I was talked into making a dessert, and I'm making cake. The gnocchi are in a bowl in the sink. We will deal with them in a bit as well. Egg, milk, oil, vanilla. Do we use real vanilla, or do we use fake vanilla? Or do we use $3 Madagascar pure vanilla that I haven't opened yet? I probably should use up the one I've got open first. That was a good find as well. I found vanilla on the cheap. That's Ranciette. That's maple. Oh, I guess if I want real vanilla, I have to open this one. Fine by me. We're going to use real vanilla, and we're going to open this one. It smells good. 1/4 teaspoon vanilla. We only spilled a little bit of it. Cake. We're making mini ramekin cake. Combine our wet ingredients. Add dry ingredients half and half to this. Gently combine. And we are following a recipe because I do not trust myself to bake without one. I'm not a baker. Should have switched to a spatula for the second half of that. First half was good, second half thickened up. Divide the mixture between the two ramekins. Does not say how big the ramekins. 6-ounce ramekins. 4-ounce ramekin. Okay, well, that's the next size up from the 4-ounce ramekin. The 6-ounce ramekin. It is, I think, thicker than I was expecting. There's no pictures on this recipe, at least not of this stage. But this stuff's... you are correct. You are correct. It said very first thing, grease 2 ramekins. You are absolutely correct. That was literally the first step, and I didn't do it. I went right into the rest of it. Shoot. Yeah, it's gonna stick. Yeah, it's gonna stick. That's gonna happen. What do I do? Get this little spatula out. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the stuff out of the thing. I mean, I'm super not a baker. Baking is the least of my thing. I have 8-ounce ramekin. I have Pier 1 ramekin, and I have unlabeled ramekin. 6-ounce ramekin. That is such a weird quantity. Well, there's no butter. While I'm thinking of that, we will pull a stick of butter out and put that in the fridge so that next time I reach for butter, it's there. Butter's all frozen. Butter's all froze. So it's supposed to be enough batter for 2 6-ounce ramekins. And I don't have a 12-ounce ramekin. I have an 8-ounce ramekin, and I feel like that will overflow. Although I've now lost bits of batter at pretty much every stage. I mean, 8'll work. I could put half in each one and it'll be fine, but... Yeah, baking is definitely not my main thing. Okay. A little bit of neutral oil in that big ramekin. Oh, heck. I think I've lost enough at this stage that I'm just gonna... Because it's not even halfway up the side of this ramekin. And that's the, as far as I'm aware, that's like the standard. You half fill for cakes and such because they rise by about half. Batter seems thick. No, the sauce is fine. The sauce is fine. The sauce is fine. Get out a little tray, put it on a little tray, put a little tray in the oven. Yeah, okay. Let's go in the oven. It's in the oven. Let's return here. Open her up, see what we're working with. It sure has dried out. Well, it needs more liquid. I think I was running it a smidge too hot. But not too much more liquid because I was going for thickened, which we have achieved. Good thing I have some hot water ready to go. Okay. Let's give it the old tasteroo. You would set a timer. There's no batteries in my timer. Oh boy. Timer set. Let's first of all grab a piece of meat, see how done it is. Oh, Okay, that's the falling apart I was looking for. Sauce. Rich, spiced. Yeah, the meat has tenderized. That was exactly what I needed to do. Let's just let it broil a little bit longer. That was actually the half hour that I was looking for. So yeah, I just needed another half hour on it. I'm going to take it off the main heat. We're going to put it on real low over here to keep it warm. Going to get another pan out on that side though. Gonna get another pan out on that side. We do need some butter, which is frozen as previously mentioned. So sharp, sturdy knife into frozen butter. Okay. Pan is buttered. Heat is on. Spoon is dropped. Okay. Okay. This is coming together. This is working out. We need to melt that butter. We need to throw together our pile of garbage. Ooh-wee, I certainly am giving myself a few dishes today. So once the butter is melted, we throw the gnocchis in there. Here they are. They're cooked. They are sticking together just a little bit, but they can be broken up easily with your hand. Gnocchis don't stick as much as regular pasta does when you let it sit out. They do a little bit, but not too bad. They're already all broken up. We want them to sizzle when they go in there, though, because we're looking for a little bit of color on the outside. So, yeah, they sizzle. At this stage, it is much too late. I will run them down a fork the long way through when I eat them. Okay, get them buttered, little nuggets, buttered. We can actually use the spatula here as our stirrer, because we're going to add that to those anyways. If I find a gnocchi board, man, are we going to make gnocchi. And they're not going to look like little pillows. They're going to look like little grubs, I guess. Do regular gnocchi look like little grubs to anyone else? Sorry if I just ruined gnocchi for you. And then we add We're losing them. We're losing them. Ow, that's hot. Ah. We're losing them. Okay, just eat that one off the floor. Don't eat off the floor, kids. I think they want a lot of sauce, though. Just cleaning up a little bit of stickage on the bottom of the pan. It was actually pretty good. Except for that one right there. That one right there does not want to come off. Okay. And we need a plate for serving. Hey, new bowl. New bowl, who dis? Visually, it wants some cheese. Tastually, I don't think it wants parm. Parmesan. I don't have any parsley. Don't have any parsley, but I do have celery greens. And wasn't I just saying something about they're basically parsley? Dropping stuff today. Yeah, no cheese. Celery greens. That's a modest little bowl of food for a change. What a modest little bowl of food we made. Which I should do more often because I have a bad habit of massively overeating. You guys are making me fat. Yeah, okay. Well, photos are taken. There are 7 minutes left on my cake timer. But let's get to the taste. That's our bowl. Less impressive than a lot of my bowls. But I think the taste is going to make up for it. The flavors in the sauce have all very much melded together. It hits you with savory and the tomatoey acidity first. The lamb flavor comes through quite well, but it comes in from behind with the allspice and the clove and the cinnamon and the nutmeg. None of them is like dominating. They're actually all kind of playing second string to the tomato and the lamb, which is good. The hop. The hop. Honestly, the whole thing is less intensely flavored than I was expecting. It's just kind of a rich, it's a rich, savory sort of tomato, spiced tomato stew. That's what it comes across as. The lamb is tender to the point, which is what I was going for. It's tender to the point where when you bite into it, you don't even notice it. The only thing that's giving me resistance in the eating is the gnocchi, which have a nice chew and a little bit of a bounce to them. I can't say they're the best gnocchi I've ever made, but they are. I mean, it's hard to screw up gnocchi. So the meat doesn't resist my teeth at all when I bite into it, but it sure does give you a burst of lamb flavor when you bite directly into it. But I'm still getting flavor variations even with the heavy stew. I like lamb with these type of strong spices because lamb is a quite assertive flavor. And if you go gentle with the spices, you lose those spices behind the lamb itself. Now, lamb is much milder than like mutton or goat. I think if I was cooking those and I wanted to do this, first of all, I would stew them even longer. But also, I would probably amp up the spices. I think I made a mistake by going for the diced tomato because I also have a can of crushed tomato. And I think that would have given us a more saucy sauce and less of a chunky sauce. And I think I would be just slightly happier with a more saucy sauce. because there are still tomato pieces in here. Which, when you bite into them, do give you a burst of specifically tomatoiness that I don't get from the rest of it. I actually really like the celery as a green topper. That fresh celery flavor is very different than a fresh parsley flavor or a fresh scallion flavor. It's much stronger than a parsley flavor, which I think, in this case, benefits the dish. Because we're dealing with a bunch of strong flavors. And we're kind of balancing them out with other strong flavors. Mm. 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 We have 2 minutes on our cake timer. Yeah, no, I don't think I broke any real ground here. It's good. It's got a little bit of a spice creeping up the back of my throat as I nosh on this. Mm. Mm. Oh, fruit fly. Mm. Well, is it everything you expected it to be? Or were you just along for the ride today? Why did one fruit fly show up? Shoe fly. I don't know what I'm going to do with that egg yolk, or that egg not yolk, white, the part that's not the yolk. 1 minute on our cake timer. One minute on our cake butt. That fruit fly wants my ragout. I didn't quite fit it all in on the first pass, so we're gonna pile it in. New plates, which I did briefly mention, but yep. Thank you. New plates. They've got little stands, and they're not so much plates as they are bowls. Join me over yonder. Boy, we made a mess today. And by we, I mean you guys. You're on the hook for cleaning this one up. Where's my toothpicks? Round toothpick for poking cake. Now, it's done this. Look at it having done this. But it's not done, because it doesn't come out clean. So back in it goes for an indeterminate amount of time. Cake butt. So it's gonna have to coast in there a little bit longer. Um, it was supposed to be two smaller cakes at 20 minutes, and we didn't do that. So I'm not surprised. It looked good though. Never wipe. I am going to, in light of that, do a little bit of cleaning while we wait to see that while we wait for that cake to improve itself. Oh. No, haven't you heard? Wiping is gay. And I wish I was kidding. That is a thing that real life human people believe and act on. It is Pride Month. Wipe with pride. The remaining ragout is going to go into a container. We don't have a lid of that size. That's odd. You have three bottoms that don't have matching lids. Put it in that one. It's supposed to be an ice cream container, but I haven't made ice cream in so long. We could make ice cream. It's winter. No, it's not winter. I cannot speak straight today. It's winter. That's why it's hot. It's when you eat ice cream. Bottoms don't have tops. Happy Pride. Perfect. Okay, there's that. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. It has been an indeterminate amount of time since I checked the cake. So, I checked the cake. It smells more cakey. Still coming out smeared though. We're looking at a lava cake at the moment. I guess we're gonna actually wash some dishes. We never do that on camera. But what else is there for a boy to do? Probably good that I do this now, because I do have a bad habit of once I'm done streaming, I go and I sit down and I eat the food, and then I don't do the dishes until tomorrow. I have a bad habit of that. And I know it's a bad habit. But we've done a batter and a dough, both of which should be cleaned right away because they will harden up if you let them sit out, and then they will be much, much more difficult to clean. The ragu pan actually would end up being pretty easy to clean after the fact. Stainless is easy to clean off and easy to soak as well. If you let batters and such harden up, they, in my experience, have a bad habit of not wanting to rehydrate when you attempt to soak them. They develop a little moisture barrier. You guys talking back there? I can't even tell. Not that lava cake is bad. Yeah, we're not going for lava cake, is the thing. It did look really good. The top had that fun little crack to it. It honestly looked kind of brownie-ish. It's also definitely possible that it will never properly set because I did use heavy cream in place of milk. Which is not the same thing. So it might never fully set perfectly. But we're going to do these dishes. Ugh. Man, I wish I had a dishwasher. I hope I find a dishwasher at the thrift store. That's that's one I would really, really try to talk myself into taking home with me. Like a freestanding dishwasher. Not an under cabinet one because I don't have an under cabinet to put it in. all the dishes already in the sink have now been done. All we have are the ones that were kind of in the periphery. Yeah, dishwashers also use way less water than washing dishes by hand. It's the kind of thing where you should be able to convince your landlord to put one in because it'll save water, especially if they pay for the water. If they don't pay for the water, then they're like, nuts to you. Get bent. Other landlordy things. Yeah. Stuff on the stovetop is still a mess. The stovetop itself is a mess. Got schmutz everywhere. Should we try the cake again? It was a little better last time. I say we do it. It came out clear. We're done. Flawless. Oop. Flawless. So, it was a little bit of a bigger cake than the original recipe called for, but all we had to do was bake it a little bit longer, and it came out fine. Now, the thing says you're supposed to let it cool. But it shouldn't take as long to cool because it's also small. I don't really think I want to make a frosting. I think I just want to do a powdered sugar topping for it. And we're going to do that in a way that hopefully does not give us ants. Because that is how you get ants. Where's my sifter? Ooh, where's my sifter? I feel like the sifter is one of those things that I use so rarely that it gets put away, not just in the cabinet. Yep, exactly what happened. Okay, so we don't need much. That's still quite hot. I'm just going to do that over a bowl that is already in the sink. Okay, 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 okay. That, like so. We're moving that, getting rid of the extra sugar, because that is how you get ants. Put it back onto its decorative trivet. Take another picture. Okay. Bouquet. Mini cake. Little mini cake. I've never done that before. Not like this. Did a microwave cake once. Only once. Was not a huge fan. Now the cake is, while the cake cools, and you eat it right out of the ramekin, you don't decant it. They make a chocolate frosting for theirs, which I did not do. I went with a powdered sugar topping. How long does a cake need to rest? That's the next question. Because this is the last thing we're doing, is eating this cake. Mmm. 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 This reminds me a lot of a shakshuka, except with lamb instead of eggs. Okay, so cooling is explicitly so that the frosting does not melt. We are not frosting our cake. Also, I have no intention of waiting 2 hours for this cake to cool. Um, for structural integrity, it said 5 to 10 minutes. It's very hot. I'm going to eat it right out of the bowl, though. This isn't the cake brownies. I'm going to eat it right out of the bowl, though. So I'm just going to dig in. The top's a little hard. Steamy. Hot. Very hot. Very hot. So hot. It's incredibly hot. It's still very hot. Okay. Good goddamn that was hot. I wasn't tasting much because I was just hot. It's a little dry, probably because I had to bake it longer and the outside part got more baked. It did release from the side of the ramekin really cleanly. Let's try a piece that's a little bit less toward the top, and also I blow on it before I eat it. I mean, it tastes like chocolate cake. It's a little dry. No doubt because of the extended bake. But it tastes nice and chocolatey, nice and rich. It's not super dry, it's still cakey. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about cake. It tastes like chocolate cake. I made chocolate cake. It is very hot. I think it is going to sit here and cool while I eat my dinner, which is this part, and then I'll come back to it when it has cooled off later because it's a little too hot to eat. Yeah, it's just kind of a standard chocolate cake, honestly. I think it probably would be better done the way it was intended, where it was split into two, because it feels like this recipe wants to cook faster so that it doesn't dry out so much. Because it did end up a little bit dried out. But I'm no baking expert, so if you like chocolate cake, there you go. We used the recipe Chocolate Cake for Two from Dessert for Two by Christina Lane. Christina Lane makes dessert for two. Okay, well, I'm gonna rate us out. I'm gonna rate us out because we're pushing. Yeah, I'm gonna rate us out. Who's on? Earth Toast is on. Mom is on. Mom's doing an America's Test Kitchen. Chef is making banh mi. Everybody's been in it for an hour and a half. Cauliflower wings. Earth Toast is testing OBS as well. Where do you guys want to go? I kind of want to go see Earth Toast. But I also kind of want to see banh mi. I think we're going to go see Earth Toast this time. Queerly has got the messages queued up. Those are the raid messages. Little happy faces if you are subscribed, and little dancing dinos if you are not subscribed. I hope to be able to do a bonus stream to make up for the fact that I missed last week. And based on my calendar, I think I can squeeze one in. I'll let you know as we get closer to it. We also need to schedule a time to do the spam taste, because they are just sitting there, not getting eaten. Um, so I'll give you a heads up. That one's not going to be a surprise. We're going to do a heads up on the spam test, taste test, because spam, and we're not getting any younger. Well, speak for yourself, Bob. Um, Otherwise, yeah, my schedule at work has been busier because of the promotion. So, uh, yeah, that's gonna keep kind of getting in the way sometimes. But